nation, counting down the final and horrible and terrible and wasteful and destructive days of the Biden regime. And of course, we all here know the pretend President Biden as being what? Being the... some of my little icons disappeared. Being the thief in chief. Yeah, tell us about it, bud. Being the thief in chief. Yeah, just love that man, don't you? Yeah, so glad he can pop by every day. So anyway, we're counting down the days of the thief in chief and all of his assorted gaggle of thieves and liars and destroyers of the nation. I think I've covered everything. Who am I to cover such things? I am your host for Countdown to Restoration, Danny Thompson, staying here fearlessly, hiding out in Amarillo, Texas, away from the mob of Biden defenders. Yes, anyway, I don't even know what I'm talking about at this point, but we will move on because we've got a whole lot to do. And of course, we start with the poster child for the Biden regime, Dr. Rachel Levine, who, as you can tell, is thoroughly confused, needs prayer, needs help, and we certainly want to pray for her. Him, what, who? I don't know. As we are here in the very dark winter of the Biden regime, dark in all kinds of areas, but Texas, wait, I'm in Texas, so this means a lot to me. We have news for you about the power outage. But anyway, as we just scroll through so many things, market watch, market was down today, it's trying to come back. Keep watching, some things are happening, some maybe not so good. Anyway, the guiding principles behind the Biden regime can be found at seculardems.org. We should get them for sponsors because we talk about them every day. Yes, so you can go there and find out the godless plans of the Biden regime. And yes, I'm moving quickly today because we have a really big show. We're going to do this from yesterday's press conference. Today's press conference, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you feel about it, today's press conference was call-in only, so this will be your only chance today on today's show to see Jen Psaki. And so you may want to close your eyes, or you may want to, I don't know how you feel about her. Anyway, this is from yesterday's press conference, a question relating to the pretend president's answer on a China question from the day before yesterday, which would have been Tuesday, on China, as Jen gives her standard answer on China. And this will, if I was President Xi, I'd be like, we own this country. We own the U.S. We own these people. And they probably do. I mean, literally. It's... Anyway, here she is from yesterday.
We talked about on the campaign trail. Go ahead.
Hi, thank you. Just a couple follow-ups again from last night.
Sure.
The president mentioned that China will face repercussions for human rights abuses against Uyghurs and in Hong Kong and Taiwan, etc. What did he specifically mean by repercussions? I mean, is the White House considering sanctions? Or even under Trump, there was a lot of Chinese companies that were added to an economic blacklist. Is that likely to continue as you evaluate your options? How are you thinking in terms of repercussions?
Well, what the full context of his comments was also about how during his conversation with President Xi, he talked about the values of the United States, and that the fact is that even when you're communicating with another world leader and you're having a tough conversation, our values and our priorities, whether it's human rights as it relates to the Uyghurs and what they have suffered through, or the freedom of press or media, they can't take a back seat. And so the context of his comments were that those are issues he's going to continue to raise. As it relates to our policy toward China, we are not in a rush. We are focused on on communicating and working with our partners and allies around the world. The president has had a number of conversations, as you know, with Europeans. He will continue conversations with world leaders in the weeks ahead. But beyond that, there's an ongoing policy process, and I don't have anything to preview for you today.
So just in terms of the existing restrictions that were put under the previous administration, are they likely to continue as you sort of, take your time and sort of have a measured response to this?
Well, I didn't call it a measured response. What I conveyed was that our process is to ensure that we are strengthening our economy at home. We want to come to our approach to China, to that relationship, from a position of strength. That is something the president and his national security team are doing. He is also going to communicate. We see our relationship with China as one focused around competition. He is also going to focus on working with our partners and allies around the world, in Europe and in Asia. I don't have anything to preview for you in terms of additional policy steps, other than to convey for you broadly that's our approach. And when he was answering the question at the town hall, he was reiterating his view that as president, and his commitment, I should say, that he is not going to miss an opportunity to restate his values and our values as a country.
Yes, and then we move quickly on because even she knows I'm not telling you anything. This is just my mouth is running and the same old words are coming out. We're going to approach China from a position of strength. They're not enemies. And we're already at a position of strength with them under President Donald J. Trump, the rightful president of these United States of America. Yes, we were at a position of strength. We were crumbling them. But no longer now. They're just competitors. Competitors, that's all. They're not evil people trying to take over the world. No, nothing like that. Okay, what else do we have here? We have so many things. Busy day. Excuse me. This because school closings are still going nowhere. Openings are going nowhere. Researchers from the University of Michigan and Florida State University found that in March and April alone, that would be of last year, an estimated 212,500 allegations of child abuse went unreported because of school closures. That's 2 months. 2 months. So some schools have been closed since last March. We will never know the cost of these shutdowns that didn't even have to be. As the president said in the town hall meeting, as he answered one woman and her little 8-year-old daughter's question, little kids, they basically don't catch it at all, so there's no reason to have ever closed K through 8. That's right. That's what the president said. Everybody knows it. It's teacher unions. But we can't do anything with unions because, well, the president owes them everything. Remember, it was the head political officer of the AFL-CIO that helped rig the elections. So that's how come the president, every other word is union. This, I have wondered about this. This with Governor Cuomo. Why is everybody turning on him? Is he the one that they want everybody to focus on now so the Biden regime doesn't get so much focus? I'm really not understanding this unless he spoke out to the leaders and wanted too much for his part. I don't know. I know they really didn't ever let his dad, Mario Cuomo, run for office, and many would have voted for him. So I don't know what this is. I don't know if he stepped out of line or if he's just a sacrificial lamb offered up because the assistant press secretary wasn't enough. I don't know. But even New York City Mayor de Blasio backs up Democrat who claims governor threatened him over COVID death cover-up. So everybody's turning on Cuomo, which is not a bad thing. I am glad that the man is a human pariah, as they say. He is a horrible person. As one Democratic state senator from New York tweeted, how horrible all this was, and I tweeted back, you've got someone who laughed when they were signing the bill into law to allow up to birth child, abortions, up to birth abortions. If you laugh at that, why do you care about older people? I mean, why do you care about anybody? If you're laughing while you sign into law the ability of people to perform abortions at the moment of birth, kill a baby that in just a minute or so would be out of the womb, full term. And you're laughing at that and so happy. Why do you care about killing a few thousand elderly people? I mean, you're a monster. Yes, I said that. No, I won't take it back. Now, here's another interesting thing before we get into more of our style of news. COVID-19 cases are dropping fast. Why? Well, because Biden's in office. Nobody knows. They're dropping in India. Nobody knows why. They're dropping here. Oh, if you count up about 6 weeks from Christmas. Oh, that would be about now, wouldn't it? Yeah, because the virus, they're saying mask and, vaccines and all this. No, it's dropping too fast for that. And everybody was already wearing masks and everything else. No, the virus runs in 6-week peaks. It goes 6 weeks, then starts dropping. And they're talking about warmer weather. Well, then we're all dead down here because all the warmer weather went. They don't know. They won't follow it because they keep using it. They keep using it, and they're going to keep using it as long as we let them use it. All right, here is a clip about the current weather problems in Texas, talking about just the overall situation. I think this is the one on climate change by Assistant Homeland Security Advisor or something like that and Special Assistant to the President, Dr. Sherwood Randall. Elizabeth Sherwood Randall. I don't want you to think her first name is Sherwood. Hey, sure. I mean, I don't know. But listen to her. This woman has a lot of power, ladies and gentlemen. This is one of the great powers, not meaning she's great, just she has a lot of power in this regime.
Okay, and then on another topic, the vice president said today that she views the number of women leaving the workforce as a national emergency.
We will just hold it there because we're going to be talking about labor. We'll get back to Dr. Sherwood Randall in a moment. This is about women leaving the workforce. All right, so let's try again.
The president share the vice president's view on that? And if so, does he plan to make a national emergency declaration and take action to address the declining number of women in the workforce aside from the stimulus package that he's presented to Congress?
Well, Francesca, I would first say that this is something the president and vice president have discussed, and he has raised in a number of meetings I have been in with him his concern about the impact of the dual crises of COVID-19 and the economic downturn on women in the workforce. As you well know, it is not just about women who are leaving the workforce now. It is about what the impact will be in future years if there are women taking themselves out of the running for moving up the corporate ladder, out of the running for seeking PhDs, for getting law degrees, women taking themselves off of the front lines of essential industries like healthcare work. That has an impact, of course, on gender equality. It also has an impact on the economy moving forward, and any economist will convey that to you. So the president has conveyed in many meetings I've been in his concern about this directly, and I know he's discussed it with the vice president as well. I would say the American Rescue Plan, the key components in there, some are meant to help address exactly this crisis, including funding to reopen schools. As a mom myself, I can confirm for you, and many mothers across the country can confirm for you that the fact that schools still need additional resources to reopen. Obviously, the CDC guidelines give us a good guidepost, give school districts a good guidepost, but many still need funding. That having kids go back to school has an impact on many working mothers, of course. Also, ensuring direct relief goes out through checks. That's something that will help households, whether they are single parent households or dual income households where one of the individuals was laid off. 10 million Americans have been laid off, so there's no question many of them, as we know statistically, are certainly women. And certainly getting people vaccinated will help more people return to the workforce, more kids go to child care centers, and again, schools, as I said. So I would say the President recognizes the severity of this crisis, the impact on women. That's part of the reason why there are some of these key components in this package, and he certainly agrees with the Vice President's assessment.
He agrees that it's a national emergency?
He agrees certainly that it's an emergency and a crisis.
Yes, but not a national emergency because the Vice President obviously wants a national emergency declared, and I don't know what would be the result of that they order women to go back to work. I'm not sure. Then they could order schools to, I don't even know what that would mean. You'd have to ask Ms. Harris, and of course, she's not going to be able to speak fully. But you notice that their concern is not really over the economic well-being of families, even though they say that. This is going to really mess up gender equality in the workplace because there's going to be more males, mainly white males, in the workplace now than women. And that means men, once again, get an unfair advantage. Now these are people leaving the workforce, not just being laid off. They're like, okay, I'm out of here. They're not applying for jobs or anything. Then there's not jobs to apply for. Well, get ready, because in the American Rescue Act, there is absolutely nothing to help this situation. Getting a $1,400 check is not going to say, oh, good, I've got $1,400 now. Mommy can go back to work. That's ridiculous. And getting $400 extra a week unemployment isn't going to move mommy back to work either. And not all of them are mommies, but as Jen Psaki can tell you, a mother, many schools need money to open. Why would your average mother know that? As I and many other mothers can tell you, schools need funding to reopen. We didn't get funding here in Texas or in Florida. I have two home states, Texas and Florida. Florida is my winter-summer home, and now Texas is my fall-winter home, which overlaps. Anyway, just a side note there. And so what do we do with this? Especially, I had this so well organized and I forgot my own organization. Jobless claim. Oh, where was my? There it was. No, that's COVID. I messed up my whole thing here. I'm going to have to fire myself. Where are we? Okay, that was on that. So let's go here to add to that women leaving the workforce. Kroger will close more stores over hazard pay laws for workers. On the West Coast, this from Seattle, Kroger is closing 4 stores, which adds to unemployment, ladies and gentlemen, which is up. Why? Because they're required to pay grocery workers $4 more an hour during this time, which they're saying it means we don't make any money, we lose money. We'd rather close the stores than have to pay people. And then, because Seattle already has a high minimum wage, and then they want to raise the minimum wage. I'm telling you, nothing that these people do works. Let's see if, yes, here we are, finally on track here. Weekly jobless claims rise to 861,000 versus 773,000 expected. That's a huge jump. That's why the markets are down today and likely to be down tomorrow. I'm telling you, and we're going to see, all we're doing is adding more to the jobless market in just a moment. A whole whole lot more. So let us then get to the cold weather. Since I have everything else out of order, we will go back to this slide. Scientists are divided over whether climate change is fueling extreme cold events. Now, we follow science in this regime, ladies and gentlemen. We're all about the science. We love the science. Unless, of course, it crosses purpose with our political agenda, which is like what? Every other administration? But we will see as the promised Sherwood Randall, Dr. Elizabeth Sherwood Randall, a very powerful voice in the Biden regime, comes out to tell us about climate change.
Broadly, the extreme weather events that we're experiencing this week across the central, southern, and now the eastern United States do yet again demonstrate to us that climate change is real and it's happening now, and we're not adequately prepared for it. And in particular, power grids across our country, particularly in Texas, are overloaded by the demands that are placed on them under these circumstances, and the infrastructure is not built to withstand these extreme conditions. Going forward, we will be leading an effort to strengthen and harden our critical infrastructure so that it can be prepared to meet the full spectrum of challenges that we're likely to face in the future. We know that we can't just react to extreme weather events. We actually need to plan for them and prepare for them. That's going to require the kind of technology innovation and close collaboration among the federal government, states, communities, and the private sector that enables us to incentivize the kinds of actions that need to be taken to build the kind of resilient infrastructure that we will depend on in the future. President Biden.
All right. Now, this is all about trying to get the Texas power grid hooked into the national power grid and to reinforce the lie of climate change affecting everything. As we just showed you, who are divided on this? Scientists are divided over whether climate change is fueling extreme cold events. So, the very scientists they quote are divided. Now, last summer, when California was going through all their blackouts and brownouts and rolling blackouts and everything else, aren't they part of the national power grid? It didn't really help them, did it? No. See, they don't have answers for this. Of course, part of California's problem, besides aging infrastructure that the power company cannot spend money on because of all the increased burdens the state puts on them, besides that, they have to have so much green energy. But as we move along, we find out more. Woo! I know you like it when I get my face real big in your face, but it's not what I want to do. More from Dr. Sherwood Randall.
Dr. Sherwood Randall, what additional steps can the federal government take to relieve the power grid in Texas? I understand that the Energy Department could use some kind of emergency authority to connect Texas to the national grid. Is that under consideration?
So that is actually not something that is physically feasible at this time. We have already seen the Energy Department take the decision to enable Texas to use generation capabilities that otherwise would be constrained by regulation having to do with what is emitted by those sources of supply in those generation facilities. So essentially to relax some of the standards on in an emergency for pollution so that they can generate sufficient power while some of their sources are offline or reduced.
All right, did you get that? Now, right now, they can't hook Texas into the national power grid. It takes, some time. So she's not saying they're not going to try to do that, although I don't think Texas will let them. But part of the problem has to do with government regulations to control the emission of greenhouse gases. Power companies are not allowed to always produce full capacity because they have to watch how much of greenhouse gases they emit in the production of electricity. So what she's saying is, we've removed the caps temporarily so that those companies that are still online can generate extra power to make up for the companies that are offline. So see, everybody's saying, oh no, it's just infrastructure. Oh no, it's just not winterizing. It's poor government. No, it's regulation saying you can't produce as much as you can produce. And that raises the cost, that cuts down the supply, and plus that also incentivizes power companies to go get more green energy, which doesn't always function correctly during these times. But everybody's saying, oh no, that's the reason. I just because of time, I don't have. There's a clip of Jen saying that Governor, that the power shortages in Texas have nothing to do with green energy, which is not true. It has everything to do with our battling climate change, or these plants could be running at full capacity. So they lie. They end up telling you the truth, and then they lie. It's just, see, nobody said that. Nobody said that. And then in the middle of all her talk, we get a Joe Biden commercial.
Dr. Sherwood-Randall, what additional steps can the federal government?
Wrong one. Da-da-da. Our apartment has actually been warm. I think it's throwing me.
Sure. President Biden continues to pledge the full support of the federal government to these efforts and is demonstrating his commitment to serve all Americans in these difficult times, working across the states of the South to deliver any federal support that is requested by the leadership of those states. Thank you.
Yes, President Biden is struggling to be the president of all people, so he's even helping Texas and the southern states. I mean, in the middle of all this, let's do a Biden promo. These people are sick. I mean, they really are. They've got problems. They know how people look at this man, and they're doing everything to... Do you think President Biden is making any of these decisions? I mean, normally presidents wouldn't make these kind of decisions. Anyway, that's why they hire other people and appoint other people to do these jobs. But he's not doing anything. Come on, you say, well, Trump didn't. No, Trump didn't do everything either. But there were things Trump actually got involved in, President Trump. But Joe Biden's not involved in this. He's still trying to figure out what the questions were about from the other night. And plus, they are pumping him so full of facts concerning the G7 meeting he's about to have that he doesn't even know where Texas is anymore. That's not nice, huh? But it's factual. All right, where are we now? Oh! Biden administration lets migrants with extreme circumstances enter U.S. while awaiting asylum. Yeah, we know they're going to let in 25,000. But, and possibly up to 65,000, just people seeking asylum. But it goes on beyond there because while we are so hardly focused on just getting in the American Rescue Plan, that's all we're about. We have no time to focus on anything else except gun violence, which means curtailing the Second Amendment, which they had time for another meeting about that yesterday. And, to present a new immigration policy, actually a path to citizenship law to Congress, bill to Congress. Migrants on the move again in Mexico and Central America. Well, that's what you would expect from migrants. They migrate. So if you're a migrant and you're not migrating, then you would be an immigrant. You've already arrived. But they're migrants, so they're migrating. Where are they migrating to, Jack? Well, Danny, today's migrants are migrating through Central America and Mexico into the United States of America. Well, thank you, Jack. What do we have for them? Oh, we have a whole host of federal handouts, welcomes, green cards, and possible citizenship, even though the law says it won't count if they're not here before January 1st of this year. Well, wow, that's quite a prize list. Not only that, we're going to let them in the country and say bye. Thank you, Jack. We'll talk to you later. No problem, Danny. Always here. I know. Just trying to do something for you here. Besides just, we don't have all the pictures of the press conference. We do have the announcement of the Path to Citizenship plan, which isn't anything new. It's just modernizing it, ladies and gentlemen. It's just getting it modern, because it wasn't modern. And we've got to have a modern immigration policy. All these migrants are modern. I'm sorry, I'm shaking the phone. All these migrants are modern, so our policies must be modern. Modern, that's the thing. Yes, we must have modern
is today, President Biden's immigration bill, the U.S. Citizenship Act, will be formally introduced in Congress. This legislation modernizes our immigration system. It provides hardworking people who have enriched our communities and lived here for decades an opportunity to earn citizenship. The president's priorities reflected in this bill are to responsibly manage the border, keep families together, grow our economy, address the root causes of migration from Central America, and ensure that America remains a refuge for those fleeing persecution. The president believes all of these require immediate action that is long overdue. Immigration reform is not historically a Democratic or Republican priority, but an American one. Modernizing it is long overdue, the system. We expect elected officials from both sides of the aisle to come to the table so we can finally get this done.
Yes, because we're not really changing anything. We're modernizing it. We're stuck back in the 2020s. This is 2021. We got to move ahead, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between. I mean, this is important. This is so important that with people, the highest jobs, the worst jobs report that we've received in a while, it's just strange. The day that this new bill, because having all these migrants come in and become immigrants increases productivity somehow. It adds jobs. This will help add jobs to allow more people in and to stay. Now, they know that's not true. They know there's nothing in the American Rescue Bill that adds jobs. There's nothing. Not a thing. There's nothing about letting in tens of thousands of new people into the country that adds jobs. And yet, that's the way they push it. And plus it modernizes it. It's only fair because once again, we have all of this and, we have all of this and the rest of the world should be able to come here too. That's why we're here, ladies and gentlemen. Well, as we move on, let's just see what else is going on in the briefing room concerning modernization.
What is the White House take on this concern that has been voiced by some House Democrats like Henry Cuellar or Vicente Gonzalez, that if you put out something this ambitious, this early, that it's first going to motivate a surge of migrants to try to come here and also open up President Biden to attempts by Republicans to try to paint him as soft on immigration?
Well, I would say on the fact that the president put forward, felt it was a priority to put forward an immigration bill on his first day in office, just reflects his own commitment to modernizing an outdated system and also taking every step he can to move forward from the chaos, cruelty, and confusion that was created by the immigration policies of the last 4 years. That's not a position or an approach that's being done through a political prism, but through a moral prism. What is right for the country, what is right for the millions of immigrants who are living in the shadows, and frankly, what is right for our security at the border, and what is right for addressing the root causes that led to the crises at the border that we have seen over the course of the last several years. At the same time, as we have done many times, we will continue to convey and repeat from level the fact that this is not the right time to come. We don't have the systems in place. We don't have the policies in place. We don't have the laws in place or the processing in place at the border to consider a wave of of people fleeing their countries. We are, this is a priority. We're eager to get it through, and we're also going to take additional steps, as you've seen from the Department of Homeland Security and their efforts to increase processing through executive actions to inject some morality into this system, but this is not the time to come. We are eager to move forward with this as quickly as possible, and him proposing it on the first day, moving it forward within a month, is a reflection of that priority.
Yes, on the first day, excuse me, on the first day when he was slashing jobs here, it was his priority to bring in more people into a growing unemployment market. Yes. That's priorities of the Biden regime. Well, that doesn't sound very American. Well, he said we're going to forget all this America first stuff. Recipe for disaster. Dems fear mount over immigration. Dems fears mount over immigration overhaul. And they should. And of course, you notice a couple of those names of congressmen who have stated their fears were Hispanic. And that means they live in Hispanic districts, because some of them are from Texas. So I know who they are. And they're in Hispanic districts. And they know we're in trouble if this starts happening now, because our people are unemployed. Now there's going to be competition. But that's what they want. That's what they want. And see, this is the horrible genius behind their plan. While they're talking raising minimum wage, they're doing things to hold labor costs down, because people coming in illegally, they're going to do what? They work for less. So employers will hire them, put U.S. citizens out of work, while they're saying we're raising wages. And what does that do? Well, that keeps the big corporate people happy. That keeps a lot of people happy. And yet it keeps us dependent on them. I'm telling you, everything they do, it's well thought out. It's planned. And we think, they just want to help immigrants. No, they want to destroy the country. How many times do we have to say that? They want this to be a communist hellhole, just like the rest of what is happening in the Americas. Canada is doing all it can to destroy itself, and now with the Biden regime, we're right behind them. You may want to move to Mexico, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know. They seem to be doing better at things other than, that little drug cartel problem they have. All right, so Biden pushes expanded pathways to citizenship as immigration bill lands in Congress. This is not just modernization, ladies and gentlemen. They lie. They lie. This is not just modernization. All right. We're going to look at a few highlights here. The Biden administration formally rolled out its major immigration bill Thursday, introducing legislation that would give 11 million people a path to U.S. citizenship. 11 million. And not all of them are here. Some of them have left, but they will come back, because that's part of the bill, to let them come back and claim their status. Some have been deported. But we don't deport anymore unless we really, really have to. There was one article today. Some ICE detainees are getting COVID vaccinations. Teachers can't, but ICE detainees can. And I don't think there's anything else on this page. White House officials called the bill a chance to reset and restart conversations on immigration reform, labeling the bill as Biden's vision of what it takes to fix the system. Wow, that's a vision, isn't it? But we're just modernizing. This is nothing new, ladies and gentlemen. See, it's modernizing. It's nothing new. That's what they're saying. Oh, wait, yeah, I know. I know what you want to hear right now. I know. Let's do it. Go ahead. Liars. Pants on fire. If the pants were on fire, we could save a lot of heating costs in the White House because everyone's pants would be on fire because they lie about everything. These kind of people can't even help it. Lies are more natural to them than truth because their whole life, the whole regime is shrouded in lies. The truth, they probably think the truth would be a lie. Oh, that can't be true because we never say anything true. All right, let's see what else we have here. In addition to dreamers, yes, we have to get the dreamer citizenship, it would also allow immigrant farm workers and those with temporary protected status who came to the U.S. as far back as the 90s amid natural disasters and other unrest in their countries of origin to quickly gain green cards. Nobody just came here illegally to take our jobs, etc., etc. Undocumented individuals living in the U.S. would also be able to seek green cards after 5 years. Well, if you've been here since forever, you've probably done 5 years. Each of the groups could seek citizenship 3 years after gaining the green card, creating a maximum, not minimum, maximum 8-year path to citizenship. But beyond creating a pathway for those already in the U.S., the bill makes efforts to ease immigration timelines abroad, increasing numerous types of visa caps while seeking to reduce wait times. You know, does this sound like modernization to you? No. While seeking to reduce wait times, I guess that was it, for them to come in. Rather than trade amnesty for some immigrants for an increase in enforcement, as was often done in prior legislative attempts, Biden's U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021, that's the official name, the Citizenship Act of 2021. That shows you exactly what, it's not about immigration, not about modernizing, it's about getting these people eligible to vote. Largely, it focuses on expanding immigration and looking to address root cases of immigration. And they say the law is already there. There's no need for added enforcement mechanisms. So it's not about strengthening the border. They always say that. And we never strengthen the border. They say, oh, the wall didn't do anything. The wall didn't help people get in. It was ineffective. Yeah, it kept people out. Perhaps more significantly, it would increase visa options on the family-based side of the immigration system, increasing the country caps that limit how many people can come to the U.S. from each country, while also reopening roughly 200,000 unused visa slots from years past. Now, our job market is terrible. We're battling a disease and a pandemic. People have been out of work. They're having to stop foreclosures and evictions, and they can't get schools open. We don't have enough teachers to safely reopen everybody's schools, obviously. But hey, we can bring in all of these people. You know, you're going to have to call your representative unless you've bought into the lie that, oh no, that helps the economy. If we could bring in more people, our economy would do much better. Yes. Yes, it would. In dreamland. All right, so that one we just did. Let's do this one. Oh, instead it focuses on clearing the immigration backlog through raising various limits and excluding partners and children from the count when the primary family member applies for a visa. He said LGBTQ partners would also be eligible for visas under the bill. So see, it doesn't even count your family. See, it's just visa. So if you know, instead of waiting for your family to apply later, we won't count them. If you've got, a family of 20, bring them with you. Bring them with you. The fact that the legal immigration system is so backed up and it's so difficult to come here lawfully is a big factor in why we have so many people here illegally. That's what they always say. The bill also ups the number from diversity visas. Now, diversity visas are the stupidest thing in the world. From 55,000 to 80,000, a substantial increase that will boost the number of immigrants from nations that otherwise have low levels of immigration to America. See, this is where somebody said, there's countries where people aren't coming here from. We should do something. I know. We will give them visas to come because nobody from that country's coming here, so we're not as diverse as we want to be. I mean, who thinks like that? What is wrong with your brain to think like that? Oh, we don't have enough from the country of Zen. We don't have enough Zenites in this nation. So let's go out and find some Zenites that want to come here, and we just need more people here. And we don't have enough Zenites. So what about, do we take away from another country where we have too many? Oh, we don't ever have too many of anyone unless it's white people from Western Europe. I mean, and this is nothing new. This is age-old Democrat thought and everything else. It's just stupid. I mean, it would be stupid if they thought they were helping, but they know what they're doing. It's really their plan. They want to overrun the job market with immigrants. The bill also triples the number of visas available to those who have been the victim of certain crimes, including domestic violence. My husband or my wife or my parents beat me, so I must run to the U.S. Domestic violence. Can you imagine how many people, and I, it's sad, but there are people involved in domestic violence. But can you imagine how many people can claim asylum based on domestic violence? Well, you said your husband beat you. Is this your husband? Yes, he stopped. He said if we go to America, he would stop beating me. Oh, well then, come on in. Come on in. Ladies and gentlemen, we have enough domestic violence here, and we can't stop it here. They're just, and then they keep talking about wanting to help black and brown communities. This is going to hurt the black community more than any other community. They do not want the black community to work. All right, including domestic violence, upping the number from 10,000 to 30,000. Employment-based visas also jump under the legislation from 140,000 to 70,000. Now that's 50,000 just right here on this page. That's 50,000 more allotted visas right here on this page. Their goal is to let in at least 25,000 asylum seekers as soon as possible. So I mean, there are migrant caravans coming. The bill comes after Biden rolled out a number of other major immigration measures, striking down former President Trump's so-called Muslim ban. It wasn't a Muslim ban, it was a terrorist ban. But the only terrorists that affect this country are religious white nationalists now. Muslims, they don't have to come over here and blow anything up. Our own religious right will do that for us. Yeah, so we can let them come. All right. Ending the emergency authorization for construction of the border wall and implementing a new asylum process to replace Trump's Remain in Mexico policy. He also sought to increase the refugee cap to 125,000 after Trump cut it to a historic low of 15,000. Because, as he said in the town hall, you go and you see all these people in tents in these different countries running away from things, and you think they could come to our country. A lot of them don't even want to come to our country, but... And it's sad. You want to help people. And there's also funding included to help back some of his already his policies already announced, trying to help the cause of this. We got to stop all this migration after we open up the borders and let everybody in. So he wants $4 billion in aid for Guatemala, El Salvador, and Honduras to address the root causes of migration, while also setting aside funding for U.S. citizenship and immigration services to help clear the backlog of asylum cases. Ladies and gentlemen, if this makes sense to you, you probably purposefully voted for Joe Biden. And so you're probably not even watching this show. This makes no sense. And the fact that it was a priority from day one, from before, this is one of the things they wanted to do. He didn't make a secret of it. We need more people in the country. That helps the country. That creates jobs. We're in a housing supply shortage. The labor market is shot. But let's bring in more people. You got to call and tell your representatives and senators, no, don't touch this. We will vote against you. We are not racist. We are realists, and we look at the job market. But anyway, as we move on, we didn't have time for this yesterday, so we'll do it today, even though we've already gone over a little bit. Exclusive God formation, that inside information that you watch and can't wait to see. So here we are. All right. Not very much today, so we can do it. There are some things I just I don't know how to tell you. All right. As you can tell, the president's really having a mental problem processing words and stumbling, verbally, etc. So we saw that at the town hall. There is talk to find a way to arrest President Donald J. Trump with all the media around, so that will be ingrained in people's minds. They know they would have nothing to hold him on, but it'd be on CNN, MSN, it'd be on every network. Him coming out with marshals, handcuffed, etc., etc. They're really working on finding a reason to do this. All right? So pray that this will be stopped, because that would forever be in everybody's minds. It'd be an ultimate humiliation. That they know he would get out immediately and the charges would be baseless. But they really want federal marshals or the FBI or whoever, DEA, they wouldn't care, to be able to go in and haul him out to a line of CNN, MSNBC, etc. cameras. And so we got to pray about that, because they want to humiliate this man, because they are so angry that the impeachment didn't work. If you couldn't tell that, they are angry and they want to pay back. Now, there was someone in the White House who said something close to a reporter. The reporter overheard, and they are scared to death what was said is going to come out. Again, pray that this will come out. And the reporter and the network, they don't know what to do. They know this should come out, but they also know that they support Biden. They want everything he wants, etc., etc., etc. There is they're really confused in the White House. And you say, well, they seem like they're getting everything done. It's just on the outside. I told you things were going to start coming hot and heavy, because the higher ups are pushing. They don't care about all this, but it's really taking a toll on the staff. There's a lot of confusion. They weren't expecting the real dark winter. They weren't expecting a lot of things. They really thought Trump would be impeached. They really thought that. And that would take all the pressure off of them, because once he was impeached, he can't be president. So now they're really afraid, ladies and gentlemen. Keep up your pressure on your representatives. Keep calling the White House. Say, we don't like what you're doing. keep asking God because He hears. God bless America. God bless you. Join us again tomorrow. And we did have one report of some problems on Rumble. If you're having problems, please text us or contact Rumble and tell them, hey, these videos aren't coming up and they're really good. And so I want to watch them. God bless you. We will see you tomorrow on Countdown to Restoration. Have a nice warm day. Stay safe. And we'll see you tomorrow.